SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist from Division of Agronomy, ICR Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa, New Delhi. And the title of this course is Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. And title of the lecture is Nutrient, Water, Weed, Insect, Pest and Disease Management in Sunflower and Processing of its Produce. So, we start with the cultivation practices of sunflower. Learning objectives are to explain the nutrient, water and weed management practices in sunflower crop, to learn about the insect, pest and disease management and post-harvest handling of sunflower crop. Now some glossary. Consumptive use of water. The amount of water required by the crop for its vegetative growth to ET and building of plant tissues plus evaporation from soils and intercepted precipitation. So, overall consumptive use include evaporation losses and transpiration losses. Cultivar, a variety, strain or a race that has originated and persisted under cultivation or was specifically developed for the purpose of cultivation. Growth, an increase in any measurable attribute associated with the life cycle of an organism or biological community is called as growth. So, growth is basically increase in dry matter of an organism and this process is mostly irreversible. Noxious weeds, a plant regulated or identified by a law as being undesirable, troublesome and difficult to control. So, such kind of weeds are called as noxious weeds. Sustainable, able to be renewable over an indefinite period without damage to the environment, that is soil, water and air. Roguing, removing or destroying off-type plants, other varieties and objectionable weeds from a seed production plot or seed production field is called as roguing. Seed treatment, application of fungicides, insecticides and other material to seed is known as seed treatment. Selectivity, it is with respect to pesticides like herbicides that are toxic primarily to the target pest, leaving most other organisms including natural enemies unharmed, that is selectivity. Seed setting, the process in which a plant starts producing seeds after its flowers have been pollinated. Surfactant, a material that favors or improves the emulsifying, dispersing, spreading, wetting or other surface modifying properties of pesticides in solution. So, these are called as surfactant and they are used to spread the pesticides. Systemic, not localized, movement away from the area of application to other plant tissues through translocation. So, such kind of pesticides are systemic pesticides. Now, we start nutrient management in this crop of sunflower, and as we know in nutrient management, we schedule the application of nutrient, we decide the optimum doses of the nutrients and also the sources of nutrients and when to apply them. So, these kind of practices are part of nutrient management. So, due to high nutrient uptake by sunflower in a short period of its duration, it is believed that sunflower is a nutrient exhaustive crop. More than 75% of the total nutrient uptake will be retained in the biomass, and with proper crop residue utilization practices, most of the nutrients can be recycled back. So, you can see most of the nutrients are retained by the plant biomass and we should try to recycle them back to the soil. Nitrogen deficiency is probably the most important nutritional limitation to sunflower production worldwide. Sunflower has a high nitrogen requirement that must be supplied through its growth and a shortage of nitrogen prior to floret initiation reduces the number of florets. So nitrogen management is definitely most important part of nutrient management practices in sunflower. Besides its effect on yield, nitrogen fertilization may affect seed quality by increasing the protein and decreasing oil concentration. So nitrogen is also implicated in triggering leaf axil branching in sunflower. So nitrogen use efficiency is dynamic, means it changes and directly related to amount of rainfall events and crop removal. So you can see that excess use of nitrogen should be avoided because it can result in reduced concentration of oil. Now coming to phosphorus management, phosphorus deficiency is second to nitrogen in limiting sunflower production, as phosphorus is more prone to fixation, rendering it non-available. Whenever we apply water-soluble phosphate like by single superphosphate or DAP, it is easily or quickly converted into insoluble forms and it is rendered unavailable to the plant. So care must be taken in phosphorus management. Phosphorus plays a major role in general plant growth and specifically in meeting higher energy requirement for oil synthesis because it is directly a part of adenosine triphosphate, adenosine diphosphate, etc. The increased WAM root colonization. Now these WAM are called as AM fungi, arbuscular mycorrhiza fungi, increases the total P content and decreases the response of sunflower to P fertilizer application. So overall you can see that in the fertilizer management or phosphorus management of sunflower crop, the seed can be treated with AM fungi to increase the uptake and availability of phosphorus in sunflower crop. Studies at the All India Coordinated Research Project on Oilseeds centers in India showed the response of sunflower to P levels up to 90 kg per hectare with an increase in yield levels. So hence many times it becomes necessary to apply phosphorus in the sunflower crop. In paddy fallow sunflower production in vertisol, the response of nitrogen applied and phosphorus was not significant and the current recommended dose of NP, that is 60 kg N, 60 kg P2O5 is optimum under rice fallow situation. Now potassium management. Sunflower has high K demand, K is potassium demand, and also remove significant quantity of potassium. Potassium deficiency is not very common as many Indian soils are still rich or medium in potassium. Sunflower removes only a small quantity of K in seed but requires a considerable amount of potassium for good vegetative development and leaves much to K in stover. So overall you can see most of the potassium in sunflower plant gets accumulated in the stover part and the remaining part is in seed. Based on the fertilizer trials conducted in India under the All India Coordinated Research Project on Oilseed, AICORPO, fertilizer recommendations for different sunflower growing states for under different situations are given in next slide. So now you can see the fertilizer recommendations for sunflower crop. So as it is important crop in Karnataka, so we start with Karnataka and region is to north dry zone of Karnataka. Here the nitrogen is 50 kg, P2O5 25 kg and K2O 25 kg recommendations. All other regions of Karnataka 40, 50 and 40. For irrigated crop in Karnataka 60, 75, 60. So you can see here if you are growing this as an irrigated crop, you need to increase the quantity of fertilizers. Then Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, in scanty rainfall areas, the nitrogen is 50 to 60 kg and phosphorus is 30 and no need for any potassium. And in assured rainfall areas, it is 60, 60, 30. 60 kg nitrogen, 60 kg P2O5 and 30 kg K2O kg per hectare. All these values are in kilogram per hectare. Now for Maharashtra, you can see for medium to long duration varieties and hybrid, the recommendation of fertilizer is 40, 60 and 0. For Tamil Nadu, in rain-fed and irrigated areas, it is 40-20-20. For UP, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, etc., it is 80-60-40 because mainly because of irrigated areas and hybrids are grown. So, in general, a fertilizer dose of 40-50-40 kg N-P2O5 K2O per hectare for rain-fed crop and 60-80-60 kg N-P2O5 K2O kg per hectare for irrigated situations can be followed for hybrids and long duration varieties, and a lower dose of 30-40-30 kg N-P2O5 K2O per hectare for short duration varieties. So, this is a kind of summary of fertilizer recommendation for sunflower crop. Now, sulfur requirement, in many places sulfur deficiencies are happening. There are many reasons for sulfur deficiency, mainly because of growing of intensive crops or intensive cultivation taking many crops in a year, and this exhaustion of sulfur happens, and also there is decrease in consumption of single superphosphate which used to supply some sulfur and calcium to the soil. Now, we are getting increased consumption of DAP over single superphosphate. So, among secondary nutrients, sulfur is becoming increasingly deficient for various reasons for intensive cultivation with high yielding crops. So, sulfur is usually required by crops in amounts which are comparable to phosphorus. Sulfur is directly involved in the process of oil synthesis, and sulfur application helps in increasing seed and oil yield. So, in most of the cases, sulfur application is almost necessary to increase the yield and quality in most of the oilseed crops. Now, response to sulfur application can be expected whenever sulfur concentration in soil is less than 10 ppm. So, that means available sulfur, if it is less than 10 ppm, then this is called as deficient sulfur, and this is also known as critical level of sulfur in soil. And gypsum is an efficient source of sulfur and calcium. So, wherever we want to supply sulfur, the gypsum is the preferred source. So, it is recommended to apply 40 kg sulfur through gypsum, or single superphosphate can also be used along with recommended NPK in soils testing low to medium in available sulfur. Indian Institute of Oilseed Research 2020. Now, besides sulfur recommendations, this crop also requires certain micronutrients. So, among all micronutrients, boron is the most important nutrient for sunflower. So, from the trials conducted at All India Coordinated Research Project on Oilseed Centers in India, irrespective of soil boron status, the increase in seed yield due to boron application as borax range from 28 to 32%. That means most of the soils are responding to boron application. So, boron is very important in pollination and fertilization. Particularly, it is necessary for germination of the pollen tube. Hence, in the absence of boron, pollination or fertilization may not happen. So, it is necessary for seed setting. Boron application as directed spray at ray floret opening stage as 0.2% spray or 2 kg per hectare dust brought about increase in seed yield of sunflower. Now, it is important to know the right time and method of fertilizer application. So, no nitrogen to be applied in split doses depending on the soil type and frequency of irrigation. Studies conducted under All India Coordinated Research Project on Oilseeds in India at different centers indicate that on light texture soils, nitrogen needs to be applied in 2 to 3 splits. So, it reduces losses of nitrogen by different mechanisms. If we apply it one time as basal, so losses of nitrogen will be more, and finally, the availability of nitrogen will be less. But if we go for split application of nitrogen under light texture soils, so it increases the recovery and efficiency of the applied nitrogen from the fertilizer. All the major nutrients are to be applied and incorporated in the root zone in the seed line or as band placement 2 to 3 centimeter away from the rows. So, it is better to apply fertilizers basally, whatever fertilizer we are applying basally, they should be placed in bands. Under rain-fed conditions, use of bioinoculants as seed treatment can mobilize soil nitrogen to meet the part of nitrogen requirement. That means certain biofertilizers can be used to increase the nutrient availability. So, seed treatment with azotobacter at the rate of 250 gram per kg seed along with 50% recommended nitrogen was found to be optimum for sunflower production under rain-fed conditions. So, you can see application of azotobacter biofertilizer to the sunflower crop has reduced the fertilizer requirement roughly by 50% under rain-fed conditions. So, phosphorus and potassic fertilizer should be used at the time of sowing. They must be used as basal application. Now, after nutrient management, now we switch to next subject, which is water management. So, sunflower has a deep and extensive root system that can extract moisture effectively from a larger soil volume. Due to this, the crop can withstand prolonged periods of moisture stress compared to other crops. Besides, due to the short duration of the crop, it can complete its growth cycle within the limited period of moisture availability. A large proportion of the area under sunflower cultivation is rain-fed. However, the sunflower crop responds to irrigation profitably and seed yield increases significantly with irrigation. Moisture stress during early growth stages has resulted in reduced vigor and growth rate, while its occurrence during the mid stage of crop growth reduces the number of filled seeds per head. So, overall, whenever we have moisture stress, so either it will reduce the vegetative growth or it can reduce the seed setting or seed yield eventually. So, lack of central filling of the head is more influenced by moisture stress, and we know that in central or center part of the head we got disc floret, which are seed setting florets of flowers. So, it is necessary to have good moisture at flowering stage. Irrigation during anthesis. Anthesis is known as opening of the flower, or first opening of the flower is called as anthesis. So, therefore, irrigation during anthesis and at early maturity stages is important to obtain high seed yields. If the possibility exists for only one irrigation, seedling or bud formation initiation stage gives a better response. So, therefore, you can remember that seedling or bud initiation stage is critical for irrigation in sunflower. 2 or 3 irrigations provide a better choice of stage. Irrigation at all 4 stages: seedling stage, bud initiation, flowering and seed development stage gives the highest yield. Genotypic variation for tolerance of moisture stress exists in sunflower. That means some genotypes are better or are capable of tolerating the moisture stress and some cannot tolerate it. Now, let us switch over to the next subject, which is weed management. So, weed compete with sunflower for moisture and for nutrients and depend on species for light and space, resulting in economic loss to growers through reduced yields as well as lower efficiency of other inputs used. So, overall, many of you understand very well that these weeds compete for resources with the crop plants. They take up the nutrient, they take up the water, they take up the light which was supposed to be taken up by the crop. So, therefore, the growth of the crop is affected and subsequently the seed yield of sunflower will be affected by weeds, and they also reduce the concentration of oil in seed. The amount of yield reduction varies depending upon the weed species, weed density, time of weed and crop emergence, climate conditions and soil. So, number of factors will affect the reduction in yield. For example, if you have more weed density, so more weed density will reduce more yield compared to less weed density. Competition can occur from easily germinating weeds and or high drought tolerant weeds under dry land conditions, early germinating weeds actually. The first 4 weeks after sunflower emergence are the most critical in determining damage from weed competition. So here it is suggested that one should keep the crop weed free for the first 4 weeks, because it is called as critical period for crop weed competition. Providing weed free condition for the first 45 days after sowing is critical for realizing higher yields. Now you can see the dominant weed species observed in sunflower crop in India. It includes Cynodon dactylon, Cyprus rotundus, which is called as purple nut sage or motha, Digitaria marginata, Echinocloa colonna, Commelina bengalensis, Achiranthus aspera, Acanthospermum hispidum, Phyllanthus neruri, Amaranthus species, Cynotis cretata, Cynotissue berosa, Desmodium diffusum, Convolvulus arvensis, Sida spinosa, Portulaca oleracea, Anagallus arvensis, Parthenium hysterophorus and Celosia argentina. So you can see there are diverse species of weeds that are affecting the crop, and in most of the situations these are the common weeds. Now you can see the pictures of the weed for identification. This is crabgrass you are seeing, and it is known as Digitaria sanguinalis. Then next is rabbit or crowfoot grass. This is Dactylonectinium aegyptium. And then you can see goose grass, Alucine indica. This is Alucine indica. And then Bermuda grass, Cynodon dactylon. And then pigweed, Amaranthus viridis. And then swine cress, Coronopus didymus. This is quite common weed. Then you can see false amaranth. This is Digeria arvensis, black nightshade, and this is Solanum nigrum, family Solanaceae. And then carrot grass, Parthenium hysterophorus, and common purslane. This is Portulaca oleracea, and then purple nutsage, Cyprus rotundus, and canary grass, Phaleris minor. You would surprise this canary grass, particularly in Rabi season, can come to the sunflower crop. And then barnyard grass, Echinocloa colonna, and Echinocloa crusgalli can also come. Viper grass, Denebra retroflexa, sweet signal grass, Brachyria eruciformis, family Poaceae, and then tropical spiderwort, Commelina bengalensis. You can see the bluish flower. It is typical identity of Commelina bengalensis. And then Phyllanthus neruri, this one, leguminous plant, and silver scom, Celosia argentina, L, Amaranthus families. And few more weeds, Achiranthus aspera, belonging to family Amaranthaceae, rice flat sage, Cyprus iria, family Cyperaceae, and yellow nut sage, Cyprus esculentus, family Cyperaceae. So these two, the last one two, are actually sages. So now among the cultural methods of weed control, plowing and good seedbed preparation would lead to the reduction of many annual weeds. It is always suggested to control the weeds by integrated management, which involves your cultural practices or agronomic practices, mechanical practices, biological control methods, and so on. So 2 hoeings and weedings at 15 to 30 days after sowing were reported to be efficient for weed control in sunflower. If you do not want to use any herbicide, then hoeing or plowing or cultivation can be done in between the 2 rows of the sunflower at 15 and 30 days after sowing to control the weeds. Selective herbicide usage is safe for sunflower. Some herbicide can also be used, and the hoeing can be combined with herbicide use also. So application of Alachlor at the rate of 2 kg per hectare or Butachlor at the rate of 1 to 2 kg per hectare to sunflower gave effective weed control of weeds. Pre-emergence application of pendimethalin followed by 1 hoeing at 30 days after sowing was effective in controlling the weeds. So this is a good example of integrated weed management where hoeing is combined with chemical or herbicide application. At Nandyal, Andhra Pradesh, application of pendimethalin at the rate of 1 kg AI per hectare as pre-emergence plus phenoxyprop ethyl which is known as VIP Super, at the rate of 37.5 gram AI per hectare at 15 to 20 days after sowing as directed post-emergence was effective. So after weed management, now we switch to next topic, which is insect pest management. So many insect pests damage this crop and reduce the growth and yield of this crop. They also reduce the oil quality. So it is necessary to control all these insect pests in sunflower crop. So first insect is capitulum borer. As many of you understand that capitulum is actually head of the sunflower. So borer means it bores into it. So scientific name is Helicoverpa armigera. This is very prominent insect of sunflower crop. So newly hatched larvae feed on leaves, buds and flowers, and then making a hole in the disc to feed the developing seeds. So it can eat the seed and reduce the quality of the seed and yield of the seed. You can see on the picture in the right side, larvae bore into the head. So this is how larvae is boring the head or inflorescence of sunflower. You can see here it is feeding on the developing seeds. So after devouring seed in one head, larvae move to the next head, resulting in heavy loss of the crop. So this is quite destructive insect of sunflower, which is capitulum borer. Next is your tobacco caterpillar, Spodoptera litura, the scientific name, and larvae feed on tender leaves, shoots, bracts and petals. Grown-up larvae spread in field causing defoliation. You can see the larvae damaging on the right side in the picture. Here also you can see, and in this picture, this particular picture, you are seeing that the leaves are completely eaten. There are no chlorophyll materials in leaves, or practically there are no leaves here. So large irregular holes on leaves seen. Larvae feed on developing seeds too. Early instar larvae scrape on green matter that give a mesh-like appearance to damaged leaves, which can be spotted easily. So lot of damage can be done by tobacco caterpillar. So far management of insect pest is concerned. We will discuss at the end when we finish the damage symptoms by the insects. Now third important insect is leaf hopper, Amarska bigatula bigutula. So its name is there scientific, and also called jacids. Both nymphs and adults suck sap from under surface of the leaves. So you can see either adult or nymph, they suck the sap. They are sucking kind of pest. Leaves become crinkled and cup-shaped, growth gets stunted. You can see crinkling of leaves is happening on the right side picture. Brownish red color develops on edges of leaves, and the condition is known as hopper burn on the leaves. Bihar hairy caterpillar, Spilosoma obliqua is the scientific name. The larvae are foliage feeders. So you can see larvae are caterpillars actually, and they damage the leaves. So young larvae feed gregariously. Gregariously means they feed in the groups, mostly on the under surface of the leaves. Caterpillars feed on leaves, and in severe infestation, the whole crop is defoliated. And you can see the larvae or caterpillar of Bihar hairy. So here you can see the reticulated kind of leaves are there, where they have eaten the green part of the leaves. Drying up of infected leaves is the main symptom. So you can see here the leaves are drying up due to infestation of Bihar hairy caterpillar, which is Spilosoma obliqua. Now next insect is green semilooper, Thysanoplusia auriculaceae. So you can see this is very important insect. Leaves are with holes, so it makes holes in the leaves, and severe damage results in skeletonization and defoliation. Means they eat the interveinal areas of the leaves or green part, and then only veins can be seen of the leaves. So here it is semilooper. The caterpillar makes a loop when it walks from one place to another. You can see it is making a loop. Therefore, it is green semilooper. Next is cutworm, Agrotis ypsilon. So damage young plants after emergence. Large larvae may cut through the stalk. Plant can die. Small transparent windows appear in young leaves by small larvae. Notches in leaves or cotyledons if planted into field with existing infestation. Or on the right side you can see brownish black kind of larvae of this insect. Next is white fly. The scientific name is Bemisia tabaci. And nymph and adults suck the sap. So it comes in the category of sucking pest and excrete honeydew. A black sooty mold grows on honeydew. So that is why it reduces the area of photosynthesis. So under heavy infestations, plant lose vigor and damage manifested under severe moisture stress, causing leaf wilting and failure to set the seeds. So many times it can be quite damaging insect pest. Next is mealybug. P. solenopsis is the scientific name, and nymph and adults suck the sap from the shoots, leaves and head, form colonies developing into white masses on different plant parts. So you can see here they can come on the leaves. Here they are coming on the leaf, and then they can come to the head part also, and they can do great damage to the leaf, or they can do damage to the capitulum or head of sunflower. Produce large quantities of honeydew, which encourages growth of black sooty mold. It is just like you have seen in case of white fly. Heavy infestation, then plant death can also occur due to heavy infestation of mealybug. Now we go to the integrated pest management. So by now you have seen the damaging symptoms of number of insect pests that can attack on the leaves. They can also attack on the stem. They can also infest the head or capitulum of sunflower. And finally, they either reduce the vegetative growth or they affect the reproductive growth, or some of the insect affect both vegetative as well as reproductive growth. So thus it becomes necessary to control the insect pests in this crop, and it is always advisable or suggested to go for integrated management of insect pests. For integrated management, we need to combine many strategies to reduce the use of insecticide and control them effectively, and also have minimum effect on soil health and also the environmental health. So preventive measures are required to be followed. For example, crop rotations. So many crop rotations or diversification of the crops in crop rotation, 2-year rotation, 3-year rotation can minimize the incidence of certain insect pests. Similarly, clean cultivation. Sometimes weeds are there on the bunds or in the field. So they should be removed as far as possible, because sometimes they can act as host to many insect pests. Use of resistant varieties is the cheapest way to control the insect pests in this crop. And in certain cases, seed treatment can also be helpful to prevent the insect pest. And IPM to protect and promote natural enemies. So it is also good to save the death of the natural enemies. They should get proliferated so that they can control the insect pests. And recommended pesticide management should be done. Pesticide should not be used indiscriminately. Now, there are certain mechanical methods that can be employed to control insect pests. So, first option is setting of light traps. Light traps can be set, and the rate is 2 to 3 light traps per hectare to know the range of pest incidence as well as to kill the moth population. Use of pheromone traps. Like light traps, we can also use pheromone traps, 10 traps per hectare for pest intensity identification as well as to trap the male moths. Set up yellow sticky traps at the rate of 10 to 12 traps per hectare coated with grease or sticky oily material. So such kind of measures should be followed to reduce the incidence of insect pests. Mechanical methods continues, and then collect and destroy the egg masses. So wherever possible, we should walk through the field, and there may be egg masses on the leaves or some other parts of the plant, and those can be picked up and removed from the field, and this may include larvae and damaged leaves in the early stage. Uproot and burn the disease-infested plants early enough to avoid the spread of the disease. Apart from employing labor for bird scaring, use flashy reflector ribbons to scare away the birds. So, besides the insect pests, many times birds also become pests in this crop, particularly parrots and some other birds. They eat the seed of sunflower. So, it becomes necessary to stop the damage done by the birds. So, what can be done to control the birds? Establishment of scarecrows in the field so as to distract the birds. So, if we have scarecrows installed in the field, then many birds will run away from the field. They will not do the damage. This is one option. And use of bird-proof nets. This is the best remedy, of course, but expensive one. So, use of bird-proof nets or using a bioacoustic method like pre-recorded distress calls. Some kind of noise can be made so that the birds can run away from the fields. The birds or bursting crackers, we can burst the crackers around so that birds can run away, and carbide guns can be used, and tying of polythene bags, etc. So, number of approaches or methods are available to scare the birds, because lot of damage is done by birds, particularly parrots. Now, certain biological means can also be integrated to control the insect pest in sunflower crop. So, in this case, we need to conserve the natural enemies such as the egg parasitoids. So, these egg parasitoids can kill certain insects. So, for example, Trichogramma species, and some larval parasitoids are also there, which can kill the larva of the insect pest. It includes Apentellus species, Cotacea species, and some predatory sting bugs are also available like C. Furcellata, and pupal parasitoids are also there. They can kill the pupa of the insect pest. It includes Tetra strictus, Airy, Metopius species, and Trichospilus pupivora. So, many such kind of parasitoids are available that can be used to control the insect pests. Conserve general predators like spiders. They are our friends, they are friends of the crop, and Chrysoperla, predatory bugs, and insectivorous birds are also there. Certain birds are there, they can control the insect pests. And other option is spray 5% neem seed kernel extract, preferably in the evening time. Release predators like coccinellids, Chrysoperla, Carnea at the rate of 1 larva per head, or release parasitoids like Trichogramma species, Bracken species, Campolotis species at the rate of 50,000 per hectare for management of Helicoverpa armigera, the very destructive insect of sunflower. Spray SLNPV or HANPV. These kind of viruses are available at the rate of 250 LE per hectare. Applies Bacillus thuringiensis at the rate of 1 gram per liter for the management of Lepidopteran pests. This is quite effective bioagent to control Lepidopteran pest. And spray Nom urea relay at the rate of 2 into 10 to the power 11 conidia per liter spray solution during low temperature and high humidity periods for management of S. litura. Now, chemical control is also available, but which should be combined with other measures. So, for Bihar hairy caterpillar, tobacco caterpillar, and green semi-looper, for all these three insects, the insecticides are like cypermethrin 10% EC at the rate of 650 ml per hectare, or spinosad can also be used 45% SC at the rate of 150 ml per hectare, or profenophos 50% EC 1000 ml per hectare, or chlorpyrifos 20 EC at the rate of 1250 ml per hectare. So, one of these insecticide can be taken, and 500 liter solution can be made and sprayed in 1 hectare area. Then capitulum borer and leaf hopper, JACIDs. The control options are Profenos 50% EC, 1 liter per hectare, or Spinosad 45% SC, 150 ml per hectare, or seed treatment with imidacloprid 48% FS at the rate of 5 to 9 ml per kg seed. And thiamethoxam can be used 30% FS at the rate of 10 ml per kg, and spray imidacloprid 17.8% SL at the rate of 100 ml per hectare. So, number of options are available. One can go for seed treatment or foliar application. For whitefly, seed treatment with imidacloprid 48% FS 5 to 9 ml per kg seed, or imidacloprid 70% WS at the rate of 7 ml per kg seed, or spraying can be done, spraying of imidacloprid at the rate of 100 ml per hectare, or malathion can also be sprayed at the rate of 1000 ml per hectare, or even dimethoate 30% EC at the rate of 850 ml. So, whatever doses are there for foliar spraying, they can be mixed in about 500 liters of water and sprayed in the crop. For thrips, seed treatment with thiamethoxam 30% FS 10 ml per kg seed, and spray imidacloprid 17.8% 100 ml per hectare, or spraying of dimethoate 850 ml can also be done. So, there are many insecticides for control of insect pests. Now, we go to management of diseases in sunflower. Alternaria leaf spot is a disease caused by Alternariaster helianthi fungus, and necrotic lesions of 3 to 5 millimeter diameter are formed, and variable color brown to black and round to angular chlorotic halo. So, you can see these blackish necrotic spots are formed on the leaves of sunflower, and necrotic means the death has occurred. Lesions are kind of spots, exhibit concentric circles. Concentric circles are like this, you can see. Similar to target, lesions may coalesce, forming large areas of necrotic tissue, causing premature defoliation of plants. So, alternaria leaf spot can become quite dangerous disease in sunflower. On stem and petiole, lesions start as small dots, and when numerous can form large necrotic areas. Severe attack can result in blight and finally plant death. And what can be done to control? Spray mancozeb 0.3% or Captafor 0.3%, or propiconazole can also be sprayed at 1 ml per liter, or carbendazim 1 gram per liter. So, this is how this disease can be controlled by spraying of these fungicides. Now, next disease is sclerotinia wilt and head rot. It is caused by Sclerotinia sclerotiorium. Brownish lesion at stem and eventually girdles the plant. Entire plant withers and dries. Initial symptoms are brown, irregular, water-soaked spots on back of the ripening head, usually adjacent to flower stalks. So, you can see the symptoms on the heads here. These are the symptoms of wilt. Now, in case of severe infection, rot appears to flower stalk and head drops off. So, you can see head is dropping off here. So, can be very advanced stage of this disease. Spray mancozeb 2 gram per liter, or any copper based fungicide with dicloran spray at the completion of the flowering stage. So, effective fungicides are available that can be sprayed to control the disease. Next disease is downy mildew. It is caused by Plasmopara helestedi. So, this is the causal organism which is a fungus, and it has two kind of symptoms at two stages. One is damping off, other is systemic infection. So, yellowing of first pair of true leaves in damping off, fungus spreads to younger tissue, chlorotic area expands and chlorosis on leaves and stem. Seedlings are killed, that is damping off, before or soon after emergence. Affected plants dry and become wind blown. In systemic infection, white downy growth of fungus on lower surface of the leaves. We should remember that this growth is on the lower surface of the leaf. Stem becomes brittle. Brittle means weak, it can be easily broken, and flower heads sterile, stiff, seeds are not produced or rarely formed. So, systemic infection can be quite dangerous. You can see in this side downy growth and there is no formation of head. Use downy mildew resistant varieties like LSFH171, seed treatment with metalaxyl M 31.8% ES at the rate of 2 gram per kg, or you can take metalaxyl 35 WS 6 gram per kg seed. Now we go to powdery mildew. It is caused by Erysipellae cichoracerium and white to grey powdery patches on upper surface of the older leaves. White to grey areas enlarge, coalesce and cover most plant parts. So what can be done? Use wettable sulfur 2 gram per liter or carathane 3 ml per liter or propiconazole 1 ml per liter or difenoconazole 1 ml per liter spray. So number of fungicides are available to control the powdery mildew, and one of these can be taken to control it, and you can see the disease symptoms of powdery mildew on the right side. The powdery growth of the fungus is seen here. Next disease is rust. It is caused by Puccinia helanthi, and small reddish brown circular pustules covered with rusty colored dust on lower leaves. So you can see the rusty growth on the lower leaf. They are very tiny spots on the leaf and called as pustules. So pustules spread on entire vegetative surface. They can be on stems, can be on petioles, floral bracts, can be on petals, with pustules on stem being linear rather than round. Leaves become dry and towards maturity stage, and growing rust tolerant variety is a good option because it does not involve any extra expenditure. And spray of Manab or Mancozeb or Gineb at the rate of 1 to 2 ml per liter or wettable sulfur 2 gram per liter is recommended to control the rust disease caused by Puccinia helanthi. Next disease of sunflower is necrosis disease. So this is actually viral disease, and it can come to all growth stages from seeding to maturity. That means this necrosis disease can come from early stage to the late stage, that is maturity stage. Initially small, irregular necrotic patches appear on leaf lamina more near to the midrib. So this is important symptom of this disease, that the spots are smaller, irregular, necrotic. Necrotic means the death of the tissue has occurred. It cannot recover back. As the necrosis advances, it results into twisting of the leaf. Twisting can occur or kind of curling of the leaf can occur. The early infected plants become stunted, weak and die before flowering. So you can see the necrosis is happening in this plant, and here you can see the symptoms of necrosis in sunflower. Necrosis at bud formation stage makes head twist. Even head or capitulum can also twist. In late infection, heads become malformed, complete failure of seed setting or partial filling. So you cannot have any seed setting at all because of this disease. So what are the options? One can go for clean cultivation by removing the weeds, particularly weeds that are in the crop or on the bunds should be cleared, and maintain optimum plant population, roguing of infected plants before flowering. Grow 3 to 5 rows of sorghum as border crop. So these are the options to control or to reduce the incidence of necrosis disease in sunflower. Next important disease is charcoal rot, Macrophomina phaseolina. This is the causal organism of this disease, which is a fungus, and begins after flowering stage. What happens? Wilting during hot sunny hours followed by a recovery in the evening, and pith decays leaving only water conducting vascular bundles. So you can see the symptoms of charcoal rot. the stem or this region is looking just like charcoal. On the right side you can see the complete drying of the plant is happening in this case. So, this plant cannot recover back. Vascular bundles are actually xylem and phloem, particularly xylem. Vascular bundles may cover with small black sclerotia. So, if you split open the stem, you can find the sclerotia inside the stem. Disease restricts the flow of water. This is important, and nutrients, because it is affecting the xylem vessels. Reduced seed size and light test weight usually happen. On the right side you can see charcoal rot symptoms and the crop is completely dried. What can be done to control this disease? Seed treatment with therum at the rate of 3 to 4 gram per kg, spot drenching with carbendazim at the rate of 1 gram per liter. So, drenching can be done, seed treatment can be done to control this disease. Now, we go to the next part of this lecture, harvesting. So, depending upon the variety planted, crop will mature in 90 to 100 days. That means some variety under certain specific condition will mature in 90 days and some can mature as long as in 110 days. Harvesting can be made any time after the plant attains the physiological maturity. So, at physiological maturity, the seeds attain maximum dry matter. At physiological maturity, the seed attains maximum dry matter and the highest seed yield and oil quality can be obtained by harvesting the crop at physiological maturity. So, we need to identify the time when physiological maturity occurs, and this is definitely the right time to harvest the sunflower crop. But seed moisture at this stage is too high, 30 to 40%. Thus, generally harvesting is delayed until the seed moisture content is reduced to 10 to 12%. So, this is the best moisture percent to harvest the sunflower crop when seed gets moisture around 10 to 12%. So, harvesting of the crop at field level can be done when the back of the head turns to lemon yellow. This is typical identity of the maturity stage, and 10% of the heads have turned brown, and the florets attached to the tip of the seeds drop off naturally. So, these are important identity mark for deciding the right harvesting stage of sunflower crop. There will be 5 to 6 green leaves at the top at physiological maturity, and all the leaves dry by harvest maturity. Delay in harvesting beyond harvest maturity causes a reduction in seed yield due to lodging of plants and greater bird, rodent and termite damage. So, if the crop is over matured, by number of ways we can lose the seed yield as well as quality, particularly by the damage by the birds or lodging can happen. The seed head can fall on the ground and seed can come out, and also the damage can be done by termite or the rodents. So, it is better to harvest the crop at right stage of maturity, which is physiological maturity. And delay in harvesting also reduces the oil quality in terms of increased free fatty acid in the oil. So, this is also important, that this is affecting the quality of the sunflower adversely. Hence, from the oil quality point of view, the crop should be harvested at optimum condition. Harvesting can be done by separating the heads or capitulum from the stem either manually, cutting or using combines. Monitoring the seed moisture content to keep it below 10 to 12% for threshing is also important. So, even for threshing we need to have lower moisture in the seed. If we have higher moisture percentage, then the quality of the seed will be affected and it can be infested by certain fungi. The seeds can be separated from heads by beating with sticks manually or by using manually or powered operated threshers. Threshers are available for threshing purpose. Recently, sunflower harvesting, threshing and partial cleaning are being done using combine harvesters that are becoming very popular, low cost and convenient method for harvesting, threshing and cleaning. In certain parts of Karnataka now, combine harvesters are available which are better and safe. Thorough drying of the seed to reduce the moisture content to 9% is essential for safe storage, and also for long-term storage, moisture content should be as less as possible, something around 9%. Now we go to the yield potential of this sunflower crop. In India, around 1 ton per hectare is considered as a good yield. Very high yields of up to 5 ton have been obtained or reported under long growing conditions in certain countries like USSR, Ukraine and Europe. With the adoption of sound or effective sunflower crop production technology as best management practices in India, an average yield of 1 to 1.2 tons per hectare seed yield is possible under rain-fed conditions, and 2 to 3 tons under irrigated conditions is possible. Now we go to the next subject, that is oil quality and byproducts of sunflower. In India, major purpose of growing sunflower is for extraction of edible oil. Sunflower oil is preferred for its high quality and nutrition over other edible oils. Most people in India prefer to use sunflower oil. Sunflower oil to some extent is used in the industrial manufacture of certain pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, vanaspati, paints and certain lubricants. The dehulled seed means kernels are used as confectionery nuts. There are special varieties of for confectionery purposes also. Sunflower, apart from source of edible oil, is a source of lecithin, tocopherols, furfural and nutritious meal used mainly as bird and animal feed. So it has got variety of uses. The oil content of kernel ranges from 48 to 53%, while the seed it contains 28 to 35%. The protein content ranges from 14 to 19%. The crude fiber and ash contents vary from 16 to 27% and 2.4 to 3% respectively. Now sunflower oil, characteristics of sunflower oil. Sunflower oil is considered as premium oil because of its light color, bland flavor, high smoke point and good nutritionally quality. So it is nutritionally good oil. Crude sunflower oil is light amber in color, while refined oil is pale yellow. The crude oil contains some phosphatides and mucilaginous materials. Sunflower oil is an excellent salad oil rich in unsaturated fatty acids. So if a particular oil is rich in unsaturated fatty acid, that means it is really good for human health as well as animal health. Now we go to the sunflower meal. The composition of sunflower meal is similar to that of any other vegetable oilseed meal, except that it has higher fiber and ash content which tend to reduce the metabolizable energy. The defatted meal means when the oil is removed from the seed, this is defatted meal, is used mostly in feedstuffs. The nutritional value of sunflower meal varies according to the method of extraction or to the content of husk in it. So overall, I believe that you could learn a lot of things about the sunflower crop, particularly the insect pest management, disease management and so on. Hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.